Microphone check. Greetings. Welcome to Monday Quality Talks. That's right. How are you all doing? Greetings to all the Bodhists, the Shadow Gang members, and those of you who are tuning in for the first time. You are most welcome. I do hope that y'all feeling good, that your week started well. Let me just lower the volume a little bit more. Yeah, I believe it's good enough like that. And that, yeah, and that y'all staying positive as much as it's possible to be, right, in these very complicated times. Joel, amen. Welcome. Thank you very much for tuning in. Last week, you obviously probably have noticed that I didn't do Monday Quality Talks because, well, let's just say that things were not necessarily going as expected business-wise. It happens that sometimes, you want things to be going a certain way, and well, it so happens that well, it doesn't always unfold as wanted, which is fine. And therefore, it inspired today's talk, business as usual. Wow. What does it mean, man? What does it mean? Emmanuel, welcome everyone. Yeah, look, I don't pretend to have the answers to all these things, but I obviously can only bring my own perspective and share with you some of the things that I've put in place to help me stay on course. I believe we've had several conversations about that in the past, where I spoke a lot on some of the rituals, maybe more on the mental, spiritual, motivational tip. Whereas here, I think I want to touch the idea of something that's a little bit more maybe tangible, which is some of the actual practice that I've put in place in order to maintain, this whole idea of business as usual flowing. Because, in these complicated times, one has to really, really stay on top of the, own motivation. Welcome, Dalia. Thank you for tuning in. And there's nothing more complicated than being motivated, or staying motivated. Therefore, when you're looking at the amount of stress, the amount of challenges that one may encounter in their, everyday lives. Last week was exactly that for me. I woke up on Monday and I was like, yo, I don't have the physical strength to do the show, MQT, that Monday, right? So I was overwhelmed with all the amount of work that I had to do, catching up on a couple of shows I had to edit. And it felt just better for me to just not do the show. Now, in some aspects, one may think that this is actually rather silly because I'm accustoming you guys to these rendezvous, right? And it becomes a thing where we all come and exchange on various topics, as we've done so far. But had I not done that, I don't think I would have had the time to really recoup recuperate energetically, and sort of like collect myself in a way that would allow me to be able to really come back stronger this week. One of the things that I've put together was, in order for me to stay really motivated, was to get dressed accordingly. I was like, okay, look, how about I bring that energy of abundance? How about I be that energy that I want to see happening and manifesting in my life by doing what feels best for me, which is getting into my sartorial mood, getting into my whole dress up, tie, this and that and the other. And believe it or not, it really switched up my energy in a way that was amazing. It actually brought me back into my motivation mode, and I was able to get a lot of things done, a lot of things that I was a little bit delayed on, and it really kept me going, so much so that I was really inspired to contemplate the idea of sometime allowing business to not necessarily go as usual. What does it mean? It means taking conscious control over how much you're going to allow business to take place in your life. How much, especially if you are an independent worker or an entrepreneur of such, you get sometimes so overwhelmed by the amount of work you have going on that you don't even have a weekend. I don't have weekends. I don't even know what it is to take a break, as a matter of fact. Especially in this time and age of COVID, and it's difficult, there's really difficult moments that we're all going through right now, and all of us in so many different ways. But anyone who, like me, is an individual, is an entrepreneur and somebody who's really their own boss, her or him is definitely going through a lot of hurdles and stresses. So I was indeed, inspired to really, really, really take a moment to just be like, okay, look, if I don't take a break, my eyes were actually starting to hurt. That's because I was so much in front of the screen working. I literally had physical pains in my eyes, and just my body just felt like super tensed. Papa Kesha, welcome indeed. Ah oui, ça aide beaucoup, l'élégance. So I really took a moment to really gather myself and focus on the essential. The essential is me. Because this is the thing. If I don't look after myself, business won't go as usual. So sometimes you gotta allow yourself to disrupt a little bit your habits, disrupt your routine, which is probably and certainly a very healthy routine because you're busy, you're on top of your game. I mean, at least as best as you possibly can be. But then eventually get carried away, so much so that you forget about yourself. If there's one thing that I do every day, without a fail, I will work out, I will stretch, I will do what is needed in terms of really allowing my physique to get started into the day in a way that is triggered to really be optimally conditioned for what's going to be coming that day, right? And though we may be stuck at home and we may feel like nothing is really ever changing, as a matter of fact, not a day looks like the other. It's just a question of changing the lens that we use to look at things. And so because business as usual, now outside of the fact that you may need to take a moment, to really, really ease off the pressure from yourself as you try to, make ends meet, as you try to, really tap into the deeper layers of your potentials, right? You may be sometimes demanding so much of yourself that, you become more fragile than you should be. So again, taking a moment is very important. That's when you're in control, right? But when you're not in control of the disruption, that's when things get really messy. That's when things get to the point where you have this impression that nothing is really going the way you want. And because of that, you're starting to develop these senses of frustration, and you're getting less motivated. And that's exactly what I was going through. I was going through this point of low motivations. Mountain of Inspiration, thank you very much for joining us. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. By the way, for those of you who are tuned in, little shout out here. Make sure you follow. If you speak French specifically, make sure you go follow Dahlia's channel, and check out what she's posting. She's posting some really good content. Very interesting topics. She invited, as a matter of fact, Keisha and myself a couple of weeks ago on her channel here on YouTube. So make sure you go check that out. Very good conversation. Really great content. So, but of course, you got to be French speaking. So staying motivated really is something difficult. Like even me, I consider myself to be one of the most positive guy you can think of. I'm not like, yeah, let's go get it. But I'm I'm very resilient and I'm very positive. Like I never take anything, first of all, for granted. But on top of that, I never take anything from a negative stance. I'll observe and acknowledge the negativity of whatever comes to my way, but then I'll try to switch my perspective on it and say, okay, how can I switch things around, right? Anything, it can be anything. It can be, bill coming in that you didn't expect. It can be anything. And it's like, instead of feeling the weight of whatever is coming your way overwhelm you, detach yourself. Because again, if you're becoming victim of what is coming across your path, then you're going to be bullied around by your problems. You know what I mean? So it is super important to really make sure that you put together a set of things that allow you to stay with your head above the waters, at least. So now let me get into the practical side of things. We all know what happened a year ago. COVID hit us, global pandemic, gotta be home, quarantine, confinement, this and that, crazy stuff. We lost so many people. It's mad. In my area of affairs, the nightlife business, the music industry and all that would depend so much on the goodwill of promoters, on the goodwill of the people to come together, and we work hard and we work our asses off to make sure that we stay on top of our own game and in hopes of getting work. And to say the very truth to you guys, I've always said perception is something that's very interesting. I've always been perceived to be a guy that would perform all the time, but actually not. One of my luck was that well, it's not a luck at all because I worked for it, but it's indeed a blessing, is that I was able to always perform at some of the finest and most refined venues in the world. It would be, interestingly enough, I would always be the guy, or most of the time be the guy that people would call to open up a venue, like brand new venue that they would start working with. I would be invited to play for princes, royalty, etc., massive events in massive stadiums, and so that always gave this impression that I was on the road all the time. And at a certain point, I was a little bit more than usual. But the truth is that I've never really been a guy that was booked a lot. There's guys, a lot of them that have helped along the way, make their names in the industry, and whom have done a great job of taking their own journeys in their own hands and took off and became even much more successful than I was in terms of gigs, and charging really super high fees in the 15s of thousands of euros and up. And at a certain point, I was like, damn, this feels so unfair, right? It feels so unfair because, here you are, working so hard and putting all this energy and, being all about the love and this and that and the other. And then, boom, you're not compensated, or, everybody's calling you a legend. Everybody's, saying that you're this, you're that. but then nobody's really giving you work because everybody thinks that you're too much this, or you're too African, or my sound, you know, your sound is too African. Fuck is that supposed to mean? You know, the very people that comes to your club are black people or people of the African diaspora spending. Or, you know, or if you want to play that kind of venue, you got to play less black music, or you got to play a little bit more white this. You got, like, the fuck are you guys talking about? And those are the very same people that eventually started to play the kind of sound that I was playing way before it became popular. So I had this like pioneer syndrome problem, which is that when you're pioneering a sound, or one of the very early pioneers, it is very rare that you're going to get the love to the level or to the magnitude of where you not expect, but you would hope it to be in the form of, you know, getting gigs and you know, and just being out there, because you're not less relevant than anyone. If anything, you're as, if not more relevant in terms of your production and your flexibility of productions. And I believe my good brother Keisha would definitely resonate with what I'm saying, because we've had this conversation before. Because eventually, you know, you get taught that being a legend means nothing. You know, it's great, it's amazing for the accolades, but at the end of the day, what counts is, you know, what appears to be showing up in your bank account. And if you're having issues to pay your bills at the end of the month, being a legend is cool, but it's worth shit. And it's pure horse shit, as a matter of fact. It's great, but it's not great at the same time. So I've had to work super hard, super hard to really like lift myself at a point where I detached the image of the legend, which is still there, and really became like even more relevant than guys that were relevant at the same time I was, and actually be so much so that really embrace more of the sound that I liked, but that I was always timid of producing. And you know, shout out again to my bro K and some other brothers who motivated me to really tap deeper into these kind of sounds, who really motivated me to go deeper into exploring my capacities and really one guy that I shouted out during one of the quarantine grooves is Slick Tim, my bass player, multi-instrumentalist, amazing musician. When I was producing my second album, which I produced completely by myself, Transition, which was an album in tribute to my late father at the time, I was gonna ask these other folks, you know, much more established than me, with a bigger label than mine, etc., to kind of like, you know, help me put this together. And he was like, yo, what are you doing, man? You got a sound. Like, why do you want someone else to come and touch your album and mix this album for you? Like, yo, do this thing yourself. You got a sound. Like, why are you doubting yourself so much? And I was like, well, yeah, you damn right. You know, that's actually very true. And it's like, okay, let me do this. So I did. And it was scary, but I took control of my path at that very moment. And I understood very clearly that this was a pivotal moment that will signal a completely different, you know, future for me, because not only was I taking ownership of my productions, but I was taking ownership also of my identity in terms of sounds. So fast forward to some of the things that I didn't do at the time that I should have been doing. For example, when I was having various conversations, including one very important with my good brother Kay, Keisha, when he was like, look, you know, you have this big catalog. Why don't you do compilations? Why don't you work your catalog more? Why don't you release more music? And I remember at the time I was releasing probably about a single every other 6 months, because, you know, even though I wasn't playing as much as the other guys, but, you know, I would get at least a gig or two per month, you know, and I would be all right, right? And then the moment I started applying this strategy and this muscle, because you got to muscling your brain, because creativity is not something that happens on demand. But at a certain point, it's just like anything. If you train and condition your muscle memory well enough, you're going to be able to adapt rather quickly to any situation. It's just like, and I always like, because I believe you guys have probably perceived it right now. I've always been fascinated by this whole concept of army and special force. That's since I'm a kid. That's because probably of Rambo and Commando and all this Schwarzenegger and Stalin. But it really marked me in that in the sense of the rigorous mindset and this idea of pushing your limits, and really being demanding of yourself, not in a masochistic way, but really in a sense of was the idea of like, yo man, you can do it, right? You can do it. So don't sell yourself short. And so once I had developed this muscle of production, then I became, obviously more regular, and I would release a song per month. And up to fast forward to this global pandemic hitting us last year in 2020. And then I was like, okay, wow, no more shows. My income is reduced by, I would definitely say 70%. What am I supposed to do? Well, crying definitely is not going to happen. Organizing my business and myself in a way that allows me to work through these waters for God knows how long. We were at the time hoping that it would be over by October, December, but then obviously that wasn't the case. That wasn't going to be possible. But this would be unfolding to be the truth would be unfolding before our eyes as the weeks and months came along the way. And so I said, okay, let me do a show every day. Quarantine Grooves came about that time as a mean to keep me busy, but also as a mean to give everybody just some hope, some good times, some positive, some good love, whatever. The whole shebang. So here we go. I do Quarantine Grooves every day, So it's like, okay, it's like, yo, okay, Shad's like, yo, man, you should start, you've been doing this for long enough. I believe it was around Quarantine Grooves 20 or 30. And I was like, yo, man, I'm not sure about that, man. And I'm not sure about asking people to give me money and just, I didn't feel comfortable. I felt very much ashamed because there was this idea that, if I start telling people, look, please donate or, show some love, I was giving the information that I was broke or this and that, which was not necessarily the case, but yes, it was tight, because, you're making less money. But still you're managing to, keep your shit, floating more or less. And you're right. But the truth is that it was like, yo, really? So it started like that. And I believe he, big shout out to K, but as a matter of fact, and I need to explain the reason why I refer to Keisha, because we spent a lot of time and a lot of hours talking on strategies and business ideas, and we bump ideas off of each other, where it's like he's going to share something with me. We don't agree on everything all the time, but I will find a way to emulate whatever he's going to be sharing with me that inspires me. And same goes with everybody around me and everybody that I consider to be part of my very close circle, where it's like, okay, you need people that keeps you accountable. You need people that make sure that you you stay on course, and by doing so, always pushing your boundaries. Welcome indeed. Distant Shadow 4, thank you for tuning in. I think I'm missing somebody in the hellos here. No, I believe I'm good. Oh, Ellie's Boys, yes. How are you, sis? Welcome. And so I decided Quarantine Grooves 51 was going to be happening on YouTube. Obviously, after some of these conversations that we've had together with Kay, because it was very obvious. You got to understand that if you've gathered, and so bear in mind, this is the thing. When I was doing this thing on Instagram, it really blew up. Like it grew my following from, I think I was at 32,000 followers or something like that, or 37, I think, and it grew all the way to 42. No, yeah, 42,000, something like that. Crazy numbers. Like it really like exposed me to a completely new audience. Like it was very interesting. So in terms of following on Instagram, the impact was very real and was very um, impressive. Because I didn't expect it. But merci maman, my mother just logged in. Thank you. Delilas Music. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, mom. And so that's very important to have a support system as well. Family members. If possible, that's very precious, and I'm very thankful for my mother's support, and she doesn't always understand everything I do, but she supports everything I do, and she does it with so much love. So I appreciate that a lot. And so I eventually, decided, okay, let me start asking people like, okay, guys, this show really does take time. It does take some organization. This is really going to become something real in terms of how the paradigm of the whole business is shifting. So when you guys go to clubs, you don't mind paying at the door eventually. For those of you who do actually don't mind paying, because a lot of people want to have free guest list access, and it's like, okay, cool, whatever. But for those of you who pay at the door, for those of you who didn't mind going to a concert, etc., why is it okay now that because we're here in this format of this online situation for us to perform for free? Yes, of course, we appreciate the fans, and yes, of course, we appreciate the love. And I believe that somebody like me has been showing that in a very massive way. I'm not counting the amount of hours that I gave. I'm not counting, because again, it's not really about that. But eventually, you got to look at it from the perspective of like, okay, cool. This is my business. This is my life. I don't have another occupation. Not because I can't do anything else, but because that's what I've been doing for the past 20 years. So when somebody comes to me and say, well, do something else, I'm like, yo, you got to be mad. This is something that I have been doing. I've shaped so many things around that giving up now is not even an option. It's not even in the talks. It's how I make what I have better and I take it to the next level. You feel me? So that is really hard, because don't nobody want to really shift their paradigm like that. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. There's no comfort whatsoever in that, because it really forces you to recreate yourself. But guess what? That's what life is. And thankfully, I've never really had a problem recreating myself, because I've had mentors like Oshunda Day. I remember, as a side note, I sent him one of my drum patterns. Because I'm also very known for my drum patterns and how complex they can be, and rhythmically how good they are. And here I am, very confident of myself. I'm sending my work to Oshunda Day, and here I have my master saying, look, that's sweet, but I heard that before. Anything else? Oh my God, I was in shock. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, but you sure? He's like, no. He just told me. He was like, yeah. I was like, okay, I didn't say, you jealous, or you don't know what you're talking about. I respect it. This is somebody who's paved the way musically. So obviously, I must take in consideration his point of view, because I regard his point of view as valuable to me. So I may not necessarily agree, but let me look beyond my little ego feeling bruised by what he said, which is his truth, but could also be the truth. I did, and I realized what he meant. I sent him another joint. He was like, now we're talking. And I believe Geisha, definitely talking about him as well, may have shared that with you, or if he hasn't yet, I hope that he will, because that's one of his personal stories with one of his mentors, in the music industry. And we share that in common as well. So I think we are all we all of us we are eventually exposed to people who really push us to our limits in a constructive and positive way. Therefore, once I established this concept in my mind that, okay, well, you know what, let me let people know that this is really what this is about, you know. And I always made sure that I said, okay, I don't want to make this a mandatory thing, but I do have to make sure that everybody understands that this is not just me doing this because I ain't got nothing else to do, and you know, it's just like some uh, how do you call this? Like in French we call it passe-temps, like a little hobby. It's not. This is a real work. This is a real job, and you know, building content is not easy. You know, building anything in life is not easy. You know, so especially in this time and age. But now, talking about carrying this business as usual while recreating yourself is really super hard because here we are, you know, February 22nd, almost in March, right around the corner, and we have no vision on the future. Yet, we know that this cannot be eternal and this will eventually evolve. So, what do we do? What have we learned from these um, past months, this year, in order for us to prepare for the new reality shift that we enter in, the new paradigm that we have to build? Am I trying to go back to, you know, this old model of shows? Which the truth is, I was very much victim, and many of us, of which this or that promoter willing to book me or not. And I know for a fact Keisha spoke about it because we have these conversations, and it's very interesting because it might echo a show, but that's what I like. I think that we have the same sort of experiences, but our approach that differ in some small aspects. But it's always good to have different, you know, angles of views on the same topic. And it's like when guys see you in the club and they're like, yo, Regent, or you know, they get you the VIP table, this and that, but it's like, yeah, it's cool. Um, so and then you got your agents like, oh, so when are you gonna book Boddhi? And the guy's like, ah man, Boddhi's too expensive. Yo, the fuck are you talking about? The guy you booked a month ago, you're about to bring next month is charging, you know, 4 times what Boddhi charged maybe. You know, you feel me? So that kind of bullshit, that kind of, of nonsense is the type of shit that um I'm building this uh as a mean to free myself from this completely toxic and very depending on others environment. It's not happening anymore. This is what this is about. This is the new paradigm. You know, I love the fact that every time I play, you know, I've made it so that you guys know to expect just nothing but great music. Last week I played some salsa, I played some jazz, then I played some soulful, some afro, some deep, you know, some deep house, etc. You know, I might be playing some hip hop. It's like y'all know that it's pretty much an open format, even though there is a line where there's room for experimentation. And I believe you coming to this channel for what is also the diversity of what I'm proposing you, right? And so, God damn it, I love it. I love the fact that we're growing this community. We growing this whole thing in such a beautiful way. And you know, you guys are spreading the word. You guys are buying the merch. You guys are showing love through the super chats. You guys are, you know, which by the way, feel free to do so. You know, it's not just only Quarantine Grooves and QT. You know, feel free. You know, you guys stream the music. All of these are part of this web I'm building, right? You know, not in a weird and dark way, but indeed it's just spreading my reach and really making the most from what I have at my disposal, which is my capacity to create, my capacity to recreate, my resilience, my hard work, and my desire to keep on providing you with the best I can provide, right? But in the meantime, it's a tango, and it takes two to tango. So therefore, if I don't have the feedback, if I don't have you guys logging in, through these shows, then I'm not getting the feedback. Then I'm shown that, okay, well, maybe what I'm doing is not necessarily hitting the right spot. But should I stop or should I continue? Well, how about I continue? Because you never know, things might blow up one day, and they certainly will, because mathematically, the type of work that I'm putting together and together with my fellow bro K and some other brothers who are joining this whole vision that we have. It's really about empowering one another. It's really about showing that we can be in the same space and shine in the same way. And even if we shine differently, it's not about measuring dicks. It's all about enjoying the growth of one another. Because if there's one thing that we must have learned, I hope so, from this whole nonsense of last year of pandemic, is being happy to see a fellow sister, a fellow brother winning, but truly winning, and not winning to suppress you or to stunt on you or anything like that, because that's a stupid ass mentality, right? So yes, of course, shame comes because especially when you're in our business where it's very competitive and everybody's trying to show face and act like they're doing super good, everything is cool. They might very well be doing super good, but the truth is that if you are not doing super good, but you're also in that field because your name is heavy, this and that, and everybody's looking at you, it's like, oh my god, sometimes it's just fucking appearance. And you go back home, you're like, hey, you're looking at your fridge, you're like, okay, yeah, how much of that maintaining do I need to do in order for people to? That means nothing, That's why I've always tried to keep it as real as it possibly can be with everyone. And I've been criticized for it because it's like, oh, you shouldn't be so transparent, you shouldn't do that because you're literally exposing your balls out there. But I'm like, yo, the truth is that I have learned that secrecy to a certain extent is nice, but being a public figure and being in this realm, I don't want to be putting myself in a situation where shit hits the fan and I can't, maintain whatever bullshit lie I was, putting out there for people to see. So it's also being accountable to yourself and knowing that you've got to set a modus operandi, a way of moving that is such that allows you to still be able to, flaunt a little bit if needed, but within the realm of your capacities, and people, I can tell you that people respect the fact that you can be noble in your behavior, even though you don't have much, you may have less than them. How many people have I not sat with, had dinner with, multi-millionaires, billionaires? I know quite a lot of them. Sometimes you see some of those guys just think that you're as heavy as them because of the way you carry yourself. Because when you're a royalty, when you understand your purpose, when you understand what you're here for, it is not so much what you have now in your bank account or in your pockets, or in other words, what you don't have. It's what you're about to have, what you're building towards. And you can only build by surrounding yourself or getting close to people who are winning already in what they're doing, so that they can rub off of you a little bit of that knowledge, rub off of you a little bit of that wisdom, rub off of you a little bit of that stuckness that they got. Because it's like, damn, this brother, this sister can be spending like, 10 G's like that, just for dinner, or whatever the case may be, a party. Not saying that this should be a reference point, but the fact of the matter is that that person can afford a lifestyle that is such that they don't have to worry about how much they're going to spend, because they know that technically they have enough to be good, and they're working to always maintain that lifestyle. Now, on a more tangible aspect of things, it's not about being rich. It's about being able to visualize yourself in the future as you are now without downgrading what you are now. Because if you expect to build a great future being in a weak place, it's not going to happen. Nothing great is built if you are going from a position of feeling sorry for yourself and not moving according to the plan. That's why last week I was like, no, this whole week I'm dressing up. I ain't going nowhere. I'm staying home, but I'm dressing up. I'm dressing up. Because guess what? Next thing I'm doing is more of that. Reaching out to brands. Like, look, guys, this is what I'm building. This is the channel. It's growing beautifully. Weekly, family, weekly. Yo, you guys don't understand. I'm so grateful. The numbers of this channel in terms of subscribers, views are growing. And this shows what? It shows that consistency, regularity, commitment eventually pays off. My whole life has been testimony of that. But to be resilient, to be committed, to be consistent makes sense if you're working towards a goal. And so when last week I was unmotivated, I didn't really feel the desire to really push the show so much on Monday. I didn't do the show last Monday, right? I was reminded that, nah, man. Because the truth is that I was really going through a moment where I was like, I was going through that moment where I felt like, okay, this shit is not going anywhere. We really clearly don't know what's gonna be happening in the next coming month, and how is that supposed to unfold, right? So honestly, I had doubts. I really had doubts, and I really felt a little low. But then I picked myself back up right away. I was like, no. Let me not fall into that. It's an energy that I don't want to give space to. So I recentered my focus towards the goal. What is the goal? I want to be able to really build this whole thing to a point where, well, I know where I want it to be. Let me just not put it out there because I already put it down there internally and through my meditation. But let's just say that because and thanks to you, I will be able to build this to get it where it needs to be. And because and thanks to you, I am able to free myself from a paradigm, from a business model that was show-based. That was like, if I don't get shows this month, I'm fucked. No. This doesn't happen anymore. If shows come, that's the idea. And I've survived a whole year without show. I only had 2 shows last year, and we managed to get shows like this, kind of like, we managed to do something, and it was cool. But yeah. So if I managed to survive without that, and yeah, it's been rough, but keeping the heads above the water, yeah, no, we can do it. So let's be resilient. Let's build. Let's inspire one another. In other words, put together whatever it is that you do, a set of behaviors and actions that will allow you to focus on the bigger picture. If you are great at drawing, for example, and you had a regular day job, whatever you may have been doing, Um, how about you take your passion for drawing a little further? You know, if you got, especially if you have the tools to execute a good job, yo, go to an application like Fiverr.com or whatever, download the app, submit your work, try to sell, you know, gigs, you know, tell people, look, I'll draw your face or whatever the case may be, you know, figure out a way. Because just because people are drawing faces out there on the internet, doesn't mean that they're drawing it like you. Doesn't mean that they have your technique, they don't have you. You know, it's like if I was to say, well, you know, well, there's all these kids and there's all these guys now in the game and they're all so young and look at me, this, no, fuck all that shit, man. Look, I'm good. Yo, bring me any kids right now. Like, it doesn't matter who they are. I have the experience and the knowledge, and I know exactly how to produce music and how to make, you know, dope ass beats. So I can never feel threatened because I'm gonna do what I need to do. Now, of course, we're not all the same, and some people have, you know, self-confidence, you know, issues, etc. But what I need to tell you is that exactly, Joel. If you don't develop a set of rituals, you know, you are not going to be able to see through your plans. And by the way, Keisha, ce n'est pas vrai. Je n'aime pas tes mensonges et hontés. OK? Voilà. Que ce soit clair, net, et dit et précis. Vous aimez tant répandre hein, l'opprobre sur mon nom. Je n'aime pas ça. And so, yeah, man, develop a set of rituals. And it's like, look, try not to be impressed by anyone, because, as I said to you, this is a world where everyone is out there showing whatever they want to show you. The guy may have 6 packs, but possibly could not run as fast as you. I mean, I used to be a chubby kid on the court when I was playing basketball. When those guys were doubting me, people like my teammates would be like, oh, let this kid, they wouldn't say shit. They would just let me show them. And I was fast. I was ferocious because I had something to prove. So I worked twice as hard. Really, really, really hard. I had a lot of physical strength. I had a really, really great, agility and resilience on the court. So when guys were playing themselves, they're like, oh shit, this is real. Hey, it's real, motherfucker. We're real here. We don't play. This is the thing. When you've been used to being the type of guy that people constantly kind of doubt and always, because you're nice, you this, you that, they just see you as somebody who's not a threat. And the truth is that I'm not a threat. I'm just going to be doing what I need to do. And I'm not going to do it at your expense, and I'm not going to do it trying to overshadow you, because you got your shine, I got mine. And I've always learned that. You got your shine, they have theirs. Shine your fucking light. And to do that, even though you might feel miserable about yourself, even though you might feel like, you know what, me working on my passion is not going to bring any bread on my table. What the fuck do you know? Oh, I know. You don't know. Do you know what the creator, what the universe has in plan for you? You don't. But yet, if you don't try, you won't find out. Be audacious. And this is the time right now. Yeah, but I don't have money to pay this. Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Cry about it? Getting a job right now is super complicated. You can, definitely. But okay, if in the meantime, there's possibilities for you to have alternative ways of making money, which are non-conventional. This is the thing. This is the era of allowing non-conventional ways of making money. And by non-conventional, I mean illegal. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the new ways, the new means of allowing you to make money in a legal way, in a very legal way, and be able to like make a difference in your life, doing something that you might actually like, that you might actually realize that you're super good at. Would you just give it a try? Whatever it may be. You know, I believe you guys have seen last year I was having this logo of this skincare company called Newscape. Basically, Newskin is a company that they do multilateral marketing. So some people would say, because of this whole pyramid schemes and all that, there's this impression that these kind of companies that allow you to sell their products to via your network, and it's kind of like co-opting other people, and it's being perceived as it being a pyramidal scheme where you're making people off of people, where you're making money off of people, etc. And yet, when it's like, and so, I took some time to really discuss with the guys that I actually know that really became very, very good friends, and before I actually endorse the idea of having, of embracing, potential partnership with them, or collaboration with them. And so, when I was really reassured that, well, all my questions were answered, and I understood that, okay, yeah, everything, they have a series of things that are put in place, kind of like firewalls to impeach these kind of actions to be taking place, because these are legal businesses, those guys pay taxes, etc., etc. So it's really something that helped me be confident about, okay, seeing how that could be impacting the brand. Because I was like, okay, let me build this collaboration. Let me show that I'm open to entering these non-conventional ways of making an income. And so I did that. I said, okay, let's do this for a couple of months and see how it works. And it worked out, chilled, nothing crazy, but it was actually cool. So it's like, okay, how do we impact? Yeah, how do you impact other people to do the same? Because, and then, so I spoke to a couple of friends. I was like, yo, why don't you do this? Oh my God, this is pyramidal. I was like, what are you talking about? You guys scared of making money? Like, all you got to do is influence your network. Oh my God, this is so dangerous. You shouldn't speak about that. Why? What am I going to win with it? Look, this is the thing. If anything that is being brought upon you or to your attention, you're going to find and raise all the protections you can just to take it down, then nothing ever going to work. Just like, had I not pursued this music career and just went with all the naysayers in my family, some people that I knew, saying or thinking that I was good for nothing, I would not be here, man. Same goes for anything. I mean, I personally know people who do these kind of things, and it's kind of businesses, this multilateral marketing things, and they're making shitloads of money, and they're not ripping off anybody. So what the fuck? Like, why do you guys have to be so, but I understand it's fear. And, a fear-based society is a society that's well controlled. And it's okay if you want to fall into, this whole thing of like, doing things, that's cool. Do that. It's okay, But then don't complain tomorrow that things don't work out. Because if you're not taking chances, and those chances are not taking chances on, it's actually much better to do something that's legal, but yes, pushing you to rediscover yourself and build a new muscle. So you would rather not do that, but then you would easily go back to selling drugs or this and that and the other. It's like, bro, your choice, not mine. But all the strength to you and all the best, because I know where I'm standing and I know what I'm building. So it's like, all right, that's one of the things that I did. Then I started my own the merch. Same thing, merch. I was supposed to do merch for so many years, but I was scared. The truth is that I was scared. I wasn't even lazy. I was actually scared because I didn't know how to do it. And I felt it was this big. I made it complicated in my head, that it was a very complicated thing to do. And I also had doubts about my creative skills. But I have a creative eye. I grew up in a creative family. My mother has created jewelry for Yves Saint Laurent, Gianfranco Ferre, Dior. She worked personally with John Galliano. She worked personally with Yves Saint Laurent. I come from a family of artists, except my father was a businessman, but my family, my older brother made this ring. So, I have an amazing and really beautifully inspiring kind of a bringing, which allows me to stop being scared. Now, okay, this is me. It doesn't, oh yeah, but I don't have that. No. If you're going to use the fact that you don't have that as a reason for you to justify why you're not doing it, that's so fucking stupid. Because you have got to understand that if you don't give yourself a chance to prove yourself wrong, you are not going to achieve what you wish to achieve. Therefore, spoke with Kesha about his, the whole shot aware, and how was he doing his things? What was he using? Which platforms? Boom. Okay, cool. And then I was like, oh, let me experiment. How do you do it? Oh, this, dude. I'm doing my designs myself. All the t-shirts that you see on this website, it's my pictures. It's my designs. All collaborations that I'm doing with other people, which I'm going to be starting to do a little bit more. But you have got to understand that if you don't try, you won't know. And you might fail, but it's okay. Keep trying, keep going. So yeah, people say, oh, your t-shirts are expensive. Well, guess what? My time is worth money. My skill is worth money. If I don't put a price tag on it, someone else will. And if I say, give me anything you want, I give that person the opportunity to give me nothing or close to nothing. So no, you don't have no problem to go and buy some big branded, things with a price tag that's whatever it might be, right? But when it comes to my stuff, you don't want to pay the price because it's not as known. Well, guess what? Be ready, because the type of shit I'm about to venture in next, God willing, you're not ready. Because I'm a sophisticated man. For example, I love scents, I love scents. I love candles. I love, perfumes, extremely refined perfumes. I don't like this mainstream stuff. I never did, never have. And the moment I could afford to buy very expensive artisan parfumeur type things, I went and did just that. You would not see a perfume of mine coming from any, and I'm not saying that in a bragging way or I'm better than anyone. No, it's just a question of taste. And I saved up money whenever I wanted to buy this or that kind of perfume from that kind of artisan parfumeur that I liked. Same goes for clothing. Same goes for, some people feel like, okay, well, me being interested in, cloth and the quality of this fabric and, okay, the kind of button that you can use and, how this, it's a passion. Honestly, should I have more time in a day, I would actually try to even learn how to sew my own clothes, but I don't have that time. However, I educate myself. I'm hoping to be able to invite a massive sartorial gentleman by the name of Hugo Jacomet on one of my confinement talks. I'm actually in talks with my other friend, who's also a massive sartorial man. Sartorial, which is the epitome of elegance, of man elegance. By the name of De Fustel, a brother by the name of De Fustel, legendary, one of the only Africans, right, to be in this very whitewashed industry, right? I wouldn't say whitewashed, but it's very dominated by white people. And this is a man who has managed to really, really make his way to working with some of the biggest luxurious men brands in the world, some of the most renowned houses when it comes to, like, cloth, fabrics, made to measure, bespoke, because made to measure is a different thing. Bespoke couture, like, these are the type of people that I'm learning from about the craft, because again, it's a passion. I don't necessarily afford to buy a 6,000 euros jacket or a complete suit, but guess what? This is not a spending, it's an investment. Because the suit of that quality will last you 10, 15 years, if not more, if you know how to keep it well. So, to my point, you have got to know in which weight category you're in and where you aspire to be. When you're about to enter competition, you work hard to match the standards of the category the category you're in, so that you can give yourself all the chances to win, right? So honestly, in my opinion, set your standards. Don't be scared, because in the first place, those who come to you and say, well, this is too expensive, this is too much, that, they were not your clients in the first place. So you're not talking to them, right? If me asking people for donations and reminding people for donations, reminding people for subscribing bothers someone, well, then you're not on the right channel. Because this is the thing: if I don't remind some of you, some people I don't even have to remind them. They just come and boom, show some love, you know. And that to me is like, wow, that's pretty dope. But then some people, and it's fine, because the product, it's still here and it's still available for you to make use of, to access for free, without a doubt. That's the whole point of YouTube. But again, outside of that, when it comes to the things that we build, our brand related matters, you know, all the other brands that we're building, you know, you see the logos, you can actually see the logos here, you know. These are the brands, the Boddhi's, you know, Kitendist, Urban African Rituals, Ancestral Soul, you name it. These are the brands. Part of the clothing thing that, you know, I'm putting together. The Urban African Rituals, you're not even ready for this. Once I've really gathered what needs to be gathered for that to come to life, because I'm passionate about so many things. I'm passionate about decoration, you know. Man, yo, there's no limits. You are the one who's putting the limits to yourself, but there's absolutely no limits to your capacities and to your creative abilities. There's absolutely none. And if you want to work with somebody, you want to associate yourself with a specific brand, etc., you can do it. And that requires dedication, consistency, and determination. And yes, you will be discouraged. And yes, business will not always go as usual, because the title of this talk today is Business as Usual, which is a counter meaning, which is a little bit of a word play, because there's no such thing as business as usual. Because by essence, business is moving all the time. So it cannot be business as usual. We are in the sport of always staying on guard. And at the same time, being able to still maintain a creative mind and a creative spirit that allows us to push forward and always be hopeful. And God knows, man, last week I was really going through a moment. That Monday, that weekend actually, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I was just not feeling it, man. I was just like, fuck this, man. You know, what am I doing all this for? Is it even making any sense? And then I was like, nah. Get your shit together. Get your shit together. Stay consistent. Keep working hard. Okay. Cool. So this is what it is, man. Business as usual. Apakisha. Well, this is what it is, right? We are giving each other the visibility, so I'm expecting 10% on yours as well. No, but it's fine. It's deserved. And I think that this is why it's important to give credits. And that's another thing. Too many people are shy, especially in our industry, to give credits where it's due. And when they do, it's usually in private. because in public it doesn't look good for them. I never made that mistake. I will give credits and pay homage where it's due at all time, because there's no such thing as I got there by myself. Nah, no, 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 no. Had it not been for the influence and the insistence of someone like Keisha, I would not be on this YouTube channel developing these things. That's what it is. You gotta be able to rub shoulders and allow people to rub off of you some of their knowledge, some of their success stories or failure stories for that matter. Because again, there's no such thing as success without failures, and that's something that I firmly believe. I have failed more than I've succeeded. I have failed at mastering, financial literacy. I knew how to make money. I just didn't know how to, fructify it or, grow it. And this is something that I have learned and I'm still learning to work on, and there's no shame in that. If you don't know, you don't know. It's okay. But once you acknowledge that you don't know, what are you going to do to free yourself from the ignorance? That's in your hands. So voila, 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 voila. But I've been seeing the chats going mad today. Hey, it's nice to see y'all chatting. Hey, Mountain of Inspiration, you said 10%. Why so little? You deserve to have access to this lion's share. It should be 17% for you and for the rest. Well. But I'm still the one putting the work there. So, yeah, I think 10% is fair. Is a fair percentage. But yeah, no. With that being said, it's amazing, and it's amazing the amount of people that someone like Keisha has influenced and has inspired to do what they're doing. And for those who have applied some of his advices, they've seen it for sure. They've seen it for themselves, and I think that it's just a matter of time before people really globally give this brother his dues, and by doing so, understanding that we have a true African pioneer, we have a true visionary, and don't get it wrong, I do consider myself to be a visionary as well, but I must give honor and credit where they're due. And when you're surrounded with people who are more visionary than you in some aspects, you have to give them their dues. And people who can guide you through bettering the quality of your life by bettering the quality of the products you put out there, foreseeing things before you, are to be considered visionaries and are to be really cherished and given an opportunity to shine more of that light over people and be paid for it. So I have absolute confidence that someone like Keisha will be able to have his own cryptocurrency, for example. I'm very confident that a guy like him would be able to actually, maybe own Spotify one of these days, because the type of strategies this man has in his brain, he's a real computer, and it's really amazing to rub, again, shoulders with people of that kind of level of intelligence. And I'm very lucky to say that I'm surrounded by quite a couple of brothers and sisters who are of that kind of intelligence. There isn't that many, but I can literally count them on one hand. But yeah, man, and I pray and hope that you are not ashamed to be in the same room as people who are probably even more intelligent than you are, or more. And even it's not even a question of intelligence, because intelligence has nothing to do with it. They are just more sensitive on some subjects than others, and can give you a completely different perspective than the one you had, or even one that you didn't even dream of before you actually started to talk with them. So, sit your ass down, humble yourself, and take the knowledge and make it yours. You don't have to do everything anyone advises you to the T, but do it in a way that functions and that works for your brand. And that is, I think, utterly important. Bruno Rodriguez, good evening indeed. Oh man, well, what a beautiful conversation, man. What a beautiful conversation. I hope that I give you a little bit of a glimpse, and I know I kind of sidetracked a little bit by talking about, but it's still connected to the same thing. But I believe you understood by now that in order for business as usual to really be business as usual, and I think it's not so much the business that is as usual, it's you, because as I said, business is not the same. It's by essence supposed to change constantly. It's unstable. It's a very unstable resource. So it's how you're capable to adapt and how you put certain contingency in place, sequences that allows you to either foresee the upcoming changes or adapt to the changes that come to you. So that for me is business as usual from a human being standpoint, and from how I'm trying to go about this whole thing when it comes to what I'm building. Not every day I'm going to be motivated. Not every day I'm going to have the desire to do this. Not every day people are going to be giving donations. Not every day people are going to be buying the merch. Not every, but you know what? It's not about expecting people to do something every day. It's about making sure that on the long term and on the long run, the amount of work that you've put speaks volume enough for people to be like, damn, all right, I'm ready to be endorsing this man's content with a monthly payment, a subscription, where I'm going to be paying, for Boddhi's content, $10, $20, whatever the case may be, because I see value in what is being shared. Because the type of people that he brings on his channel are the kind of people I would have never thought of even hearing of, or the type of topics that are being spoken of or on would have not even been spoken on any other platforms before, or not in that way, or not from that angle. The type of music that this guy is playing is such that, wow, I have a motherfucking legend in the game who's able to tap into so many different realms and tell me a story, paint a canvas that me, my daughters, my uncles, my niece, my mother can actually understand. Because I am aiming at tapping into your ancestry, no matter where you're from, by trying my best to empower you while I empower myself. And I don't think there's anything better than nourishing this kind of behavior. It's super important. And that's right, Keisha. Gratitude and not staying in your comfort zone. Yeah, man. Super important. And any and every little aspect of your life can be testimony of that. From stopping to drink Coca-Cola every day to drinking more water. From stopping to try to work out, kill yourself one day, and then not be able to work out for the next 20 or 50 days. Then feeling shitty about yourself and entering a cycle again of like, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not that enough. You are what you want to be. And I know it sounds crazy. Believe me, even me, when I was hearing that, I was even close to say fuck you to the person saying that to me. But believe me, by now I understand. I think I understand what it means. I'm not saying that everything that you are now is your fault, but what is in your control is what you're going to do with the situation you're in now. It's not in anyone else's hands. And anyone who makes you believe that it is in their hand to control that, they're lying to you. And you're letting them lie to you willingly. So take control, take ownership of your existence, and run your business, understanding that nothing is stable. And the only constant, the only certitude that you have, and even that is uncertain, but at least the only thing that you can kind of control, if you're really willing to, is you. And you're going to make mistakes. You're going to go through ways and aspects of your life that you're not. Yeah. You get there, yo. No matter who you are, no matter your gender, no matter your belief, no matter your condition. People without hands can draw with their foot, can fix things with their foot. Did you see these images? I'm pretty sure some of you have seen that online. There's so many things you can do. Bree, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're almost coming to an end for this show, but yeah. So please, be gentle with yourself. Understand that going at things one step at a time is better than trying to run when your legs are shaking, when you have not strengthened the necessary type of muscles to allow you to actually run. Because you're going to fatigue yourself quicker. Gradually, progressively, know how you function and make it work for you. That's my humble little 2 cents for tonight on the Quality Talks, as we spoke on business as usual. And Mountain of Inspiration, thank you very much for tuning in. I'm also going to be taking my leave. I'm not going to overstay my welcome into your households through this show. And I appreciate you all for tuning in. It was really, really beautiful conversation with you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, King. Thank you very much. Thank you all. And yeah, man, that is boys. Dalia, Papa Kesha, Distant Shadow 4, Delish Musique, my mother Vivian, Emmanuel Etienne, Bree. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Bruno Rodriguez, thank you all for tuning in. It has been a great pleasure, a great pleasure, and a great conversation. And yeah, man, make sure you tune in. Friday for Quarantine Grooves. I was gonna give you a rendezvous this Wednesday for Confinement Talks, but I am trying to wrap up my floor of guests, which I'm hoping to have. Yeah, by Wednesday, but it's gonna be hard because we're talking about some pretty busy brothers. So hopefully I get to gather them this Wednesday. Otherwise, it's gonna be next week. So, but all good. In the meantime, y'all be well, and yes, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that just yet. Press the buy button, make some donations, super chats, buy some merch, as I said before, and yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and I shall see you for another MQT next week on Monday. And so, with that being said, I'm going to send you off with Bria's offering, my ancestral Bandagbaya Soul remix, which I don't even know it came. It never came. I don't think it ever came out. But anyway, I'm going to speak to Shulade about that, as a matter of fact. And so, yes, I'll send you guys off. Once again, gratitude for your presence. Y'all be well. Blessings once again, family. Beautiful vibe, beautiful energy. Gratitude for your being once again. Y'all be well and blessed. And yeah, peace out.